Should have done this before we started, but can I get a quick audio check from you, friend? Alright, 1 second, and let me get that one more time.
I said audio check, audio check, audio check, audio check.
I said audio check! Basil's a bright boy, but it's about as dumb as dull as a can of sardines when it comes to audio mixing.
I say.
I do declare. That's how we're starting this.
Perfect, excellent.
Bad foghorn leghorn impressions.
Exo.
Absolutely amazing. Hello, everyone. Welcome, adventurers and travelers from across the lands, realms, and whatever else you consist of in the vastness of creation. I'm Basil, not the Herb. This is Katharina. This is the Ramblers Tavern. We're going to be commencing rambling. This is the podcast where I find every possible excuse to make you all listen to me talk about things that I like and things that I don't have enough things to talk about with my wife. She's tired of me talking about nerdy things. I have to bother all of you with it. And now I have a guest. I have the lovely Katharina, who is going to also yap and bother me about the things that they like. Katharina, why don't you tell the people who you are, where you're from, and where they can bother you?
Oh, hi there. My name is Katharina Game. I'm a Greenwich VTuber. You can find me over on Katharina Game, Twitch, TV.com/Katharina Game. You know how that works. So I'm over there, and I stream every day except Tuesday because I'm here today. So, yeah.
I love the idea. It's like every day except Tuesday, as if like, because you don't stream on Tuesday because of Basil, right? I'm just like, no, I'm just mooching off her day off. I just happened to be like, we never did that collab I asked for.
What are you talking about? We did collabs. We played that one game together where you walked me through and I didn't have to touch anything.
Yup, no, I remember, and that was Granblue Relink, very fun game. The developers stopped caring about 6 months in, so did I.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
You know what? It's fine. Hoyo has me by the throat playing Zenless Zone Zero, and Monster Hunter comes out in February, so like I got no problems.
Woo!
How are you doing this wonderful Tuesday evening?
Well, it is Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, no, I'm doing fantastic. Got home from work, slapped some pizza in the microwave, ate that pizza, then got a message from someone saying, yo, we're going live in like 10 minutes, and I go, oh, okay, I'm ready, let's go.
Yeah, so time zones is something ADHD Basil is bad with, and I forgot, even though I said 6 CST, I didn't, like, do the thing in my brain that converts numbers into other numbers. But Catherine was a good sport about it and said, no, I'm actually good now, like, we can totally just start. And I'm like, all right, dope, give me 10 minutes.
Sick. You were lucky, because I almost opened a new addiction of mine called Immortal Life, which is a farming, cultivating game, and it's pretty solid.
That is a great transition into a topic, actually, because what's so interesting about a lot of those farming, cultivating games that I find is your boy can't play them, like, gets way too bored with them too quickly, and I don't mean oh man, this game sucks, bro, it's not enough blood. I mean, like, I'm too, like, action-oriented and focused, so I would love to know, because, like, the only games I really have, I think, in comparison are things like Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley. What is the big pull of this game you're talking about?
So I love farming-esque games because I am a very strategic individual. And I know that sounds weird when you think about a comforting, cozy farming type game. No, I like to open that game. I like to see all of the crops that you have, and I go, yes, how do I make the most amount of money the fastest with the least amount of effort? And then I'm going to do that so that I don't have to think about anything for the rest of the game. That's how I'd play.
I actually kind of fucking follow that because like I think it's the very reason like why farming games like don't get with me all that much because like I'll have a very specific thing I want to do and then I'll focus on that, look at the next thing I have to do and be like, "Oh, but I just want to grow pumpkins. I just want to be a pumpkin man." And like by the time you get through all of that, it's just like, I can't. I remember when I popped into your stream, at least with this one, I know that some of the farming games also have like a dating sim aspect to it. Is that there? And who you got your site? Like, tell us about your girlfriend. Tell us about your crush. Who are you dating?
All right, so here's how I usually do that when I'm streaming farming S games with a love interest. I usually go, okay, chat. So how we do this is, we don't go by looks, we go by personality. Do we like them with our very first interaction? And so I go up to all the love interests and I go, okay, what's the first thing you say to me? Oh, you're a money grubbing individual. Not interested in you. What about you? Oh, you're rude to me. No. You're gonna be one of those really hard ones that I have to like make you love me later. That's too much effort. Moving on. And so go ahead.
Your average internet user, he's so bad I can fix him. Katharina, no, it's not my job. Get away from me, brother.
That's way too much effort. I got time. I got a farm to build. I got money to make. I need you to be self-sufficient in my world. Thank you.
Listen, it's called a partnership, not a fix you and see how things turn out ship.
Right.
No, honestly, I once again like click with that. Probably a little bit more upfront because as much as like being a bisexual, I have this horrible tendency to find everyone attractive on some level, save for like the 2 or 3 like types of people that just like no hate, just doesn't do it for me. So when everyone is hot, technically no one is hot, and you gotta find out like, all right, what's your personality? How do we interact? Like in Baldur's Gate, what little I have played, I immediately did not care about Shadowheart. I immediately did not care about Lae'zel, but Karlach, Will, crap, what's the wizard dude's name? I'm forgetting his name.
I'm unsure. I've also only played about 3 hours of Baldur's Gate, so like I feel like I'm in the same boat as you there.
Yeah, but like there are characters who I'm just like, cool. The devil mommy who could crush me but has a heart of gold also said gold might also explode. Thank you, chat, Gale. Oh, cool. A literal like character I would have made. Will is literally a character I would have made on my own. Where he's just like, I am like the hero of such and such, but I'm also very humble. Also, I made a deal with a demon, so now I'm cursed. And I'm like, yes, gimme. Will is just, if you put a character like Will in any other game, I would thirst for him so bad. And we'll talk about that in a second, but we're talking about farming games, so to switch it back around to that, I fully get that. Is this game? Sorry, what is the game called again?
It's called Immortal Life.
In Immortal Life, do you think that you kind of got enough of like a general vibe of the character with that first interaction, or like as you've played further in it, do you feel like you're like, oh, I pull the Thanos. Perhaps I misjudged you.
Not even a little bit. We have judged them very well. Every time I've spoken to that money hungering one later on, it was like, hey, I can sell you this crane for 800 monies, and I was like, I don't have money, and he goes, well, I guess I can give it to you. It's so we can keep in touch or whatever. And I was like, yeah, you are, aren't you? That's what you're gonna give me.
It's like the worst version of a tsundere. Like every time they try to bully you, it's just like, oh, I mean, you know, I'll give this to you for like $100. I'm like, fuck you, I ain't got that kind of money. It's like, no, wait, just have it. It's okay, just have it. Why'd you leave with the money? Like it would have been way cuter if you had done something like, you know, I could always do it for a favor. And then you
Yeah.
roll your eyes and are like, all right, whatever, you horn dog, but secretly you're into it.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this before, but your Halloween avatar.
Oh yeah.
How
My
did
Reaper.
Yeah, one sucker for Reaper concepts. Like when Reaper came to FF14, immediately just ate that shit up so quick. I would love to know where the concept came from, like how you landed on Reaper, and like what you ended up doing for that. Halloween was busy for me. I didn't talk to anybody during that holiday for some reason.
No, that's fair. I wanted a really cool outfit, right? And I wanted to be able to be mysterious. And so I was like, okay, last year I was a vampire. Obviously can't do that again. I'm normally a witch, so that is not something I can do. I guess I could put on a different witch outfit. No, let's not do that. I'm gonna be a reaper because I have this really cool scythe that I found for $5. It was actually that was part of the lore of Alistair that I got him for 5 soul coins, but I really did purchase him for $5 off of some 3D website, and I reskinned him because he didn't look nice in whatever color it came in. And then I was like, okay, all right, well, I have Alistair, he's a scythe, and so I'm a reaper, and now I have to collect 1,000 souls a day until the end of Halloween. That's my job. So.
Oh my god. I love when little stuff like that like bleeds into reality. Well, you mean it wasn't to completely mess up the spine emote with a scythe. um I feel like one of the fun things about being a VTuber is like when you get like that inspiration to take a bit of reality and you like put it into your character's lore. Um I feel like that just like shows how much like listen, VTubing can be like, and this is rich coming from me, but like VTubing can be just like a wasteland of horn dogness and like awkwardness. It really can. But when you get like the ability to like make a fantasy version of yourself, like yes, in other forums it's like, oh, it's a self-insert. It's like, yeah, bitch, deal with it. This is fun.
Exactly.
Were you successful in getting your 1,000 souls?
Well, it was 1,000 souls a day, and I actually had to get help from
Oh.
my mod. So a Nova is actually a necromancer, and
Mm-hmm.
so I commissioned a Nova to assist me, and I used their minions to help me gather the 1,000 souls so that I could go play, and not actually do my job. Death didn't notice, so when I turned them in, it seemed fine. I actually had some left over, and I gave them back to a Nova to reuse for like necromancy stuff. So it
Mm-hmm.
worked out pretty well.
Here's my question. Just to like make sure if you ever have to do this again, like it's like we had a game plan. Um, are you lore wise familiar with like multiverses? Like, did you jump into other realms to gather your souls, or did you just sort of like stay in one realm of reality?
Well, in my head canon, it was just I would go to like that space in between where reapers kind of sit, and she finds the lost souls and then leads them where they need to go, which is why my lore video was I will take you where
Ah.
you're supposed to go. So depending on like their afterlife image or whatever world they happen to come from, I led them to where they needed to go.
Okay, so this like I was taking this way more sinister. I was making this way more like you went out on a murder spree.
No, no, no.
Which, like, as you can tell, we don't judge. You know what? Literally, if you have to go out there and slay, I'm not gonna judge. I've committed war crimes. We don't talk about it, but I've also been in that position. So it was a much more like spiritfarer kind of thing. Like you were helping
Yeah.
people get to where they needed to go.
Right, right. So I was more like, I found you. You're not supposed to be in this in between. Let's take you where you gotta go.
So now I gotta play with some. How many people did you have to send to the bad place? We'll call it.
I don't track what is good or bad. As I just take them wherever they are supposed to go. So
Very bureaucratic, very efficient. I respect that. in that line of work, you kind of have to, you kind of have to have your heart closed off just a little bit. It's like, you can't help them. You can't save them. Like, they're going where they're going to go. It's already done.
Yeah, your life choices put you where you land. So I'm just gonna take you there, and I'm gonna be cute while we do it, so that you have one last thing before wherever you need to go may not have cute things in it. So.
Or if you are going to a place with cute things, you are a great primer. It'd be like, oh my god, this is the appetizer, yay!
yeah, there we go. See, perfect either way.
Since you you went to all that trouble of being that, so where do I land on that spectrum? Like, I know, spoilers, but just like, it's as an early Christmas gift to me, like, where you haven't seen my name on any list,
Well, unfortunately, I don't know where you're supposed to go until after you've fully died, because you could make a major change before that point. That could shift you from one side or to the other.
Awesome, I've got the Ebenezer Scrooge clause. Suck it,
Yeah,
Death!
yeah.
You ain't getting me yet! But I can't taunt him too much because no, he'll get me eventually.
Yeah. That's why I made sure to get my amount of souls each day, because I was like, okay, here you go. I'm done with work now, right? I can go stream now, because I always did it before my streams. I made sure to get all my souls gathered, and he was always so quiet. It always made me really anxious. So
It's like having that boss who doesn't speak a lot and just stares at you, but you don't even see his face, so you don't really even know how to feel.
It's like, here you go, Mr. Death. There you go. That's my quota for the day. You good? We good? Okay, cool. I'm gonna.
You just eventually be like, I'm just gonna go. Oh, brilliant. Whenever it comes to the Halloween events, I know you were playing a handful of spooky games. Was there any specific game that like really grabbed you, or like you really like enjoyed during the Halloween months, or did you kind of land more in the realm of, oh, thank God it's over, no more spooky game?
I always enjoy spooky games. Actually, spooky games are on my list every single week. So really, it was just I removed all of my cute games and put scary games instead for the full month of October. One of my favorite ones is it was a otome game, which is like just a visual novel type game. And so I really enjoy reading. And so it was called Decentra, where essentially you played a little wolf character who had the mentality of like a human, because he could think through everything. And he eventually found like the little girl of the house, and he helped her become independent. And then they broke out of the house because she was also a prisoner there, and it was super cute. I didn't spoil anything. There's a lot more that happened in it, but I had a lot of fun voice acting that one.
Ooh, nice. I actually might want to try and check that one out myself later.
It's free to play.
Oh, even better. Well, see, like, okay, like, good on you for also saying, like, hey, I didn't spoil anything, but, like, if you've got a free-to-play game, this is where I get kind of weird about spoilers, and this is a very good transition into the other topic that I will introduce. I kind of live and breathe on the Hitchcockian method of storytelling, where spoilers can like change how you view a story, but I always believe in the idea of, okay, you have a spoiler, now that means you can go and enjoy the story through a more executive stance. The best example I can give is in FF14, in the new story that they've got added, I was informed of a decision they made in the storytelling that I am not happy about. But now I get to go into the story, because my brother-in-law was like, do you want to know like the context? And I'm like, no, let me see how they build up to this. Maybe I won't hate it as much if like the actual road to getting there makes sense. Rather than focusing way too much on a character coming back in a way that I don't want.
Fair, yeah.
outside of that, giving a heads up, so ads will start in the 4-ish minute zone. I will warn everyone about that. We'll go on a brief little goofball break. I don't want to have too many breaks. So we'll make sure to try to talk about nothing while you guys are stuck in ad jail in the next 5 minutes.
I'll just sass him super hard the whole time.
And then you'll get to go to the VOD later to find the sass. See, it just all works out. What games are you playing beyond your farming game, or are there any other like big projects coming forward that you can share with us, or is anything like in the works that you're able or comfortable with being like, well, I'm working on this idea?
Yeah, sure. Like the big thing that I'm currently working on is I'm going to be doing a charity stream on December 6th, and I am also doing my Christmas model reveal on that same day. So it's going to be like a twofer on that day. So that's like the big project I'm working on. Aside from that, I'm mostly working on like trying to finish some leftover games from Halloween that I hadn't finished yet because Alien Isolation took way too long to finish. I don't know if you've ever played Alien Isolation. I was expecting like a 12, 16-hour game. I was not expecting a 30 to 40-hour game, you know? So
I am absolutely not built like you. I'm a massive coward when it comes to scary games, so I don't often fiddle around with them. However, I did watch a lot of people play that game, and I remember a common complaint for Isolation being, it's great, it's just maybe a little too long.
yeah, it's fine and it was enjoyable. I just wish somehow they sped it up just a little bit, because there was like scenes in it where you had to go outside and you walked, but it was super slow, you couldn't run, and then everything just took so long. But they did that to build suspense in case the creature comes up behind you. That's why everything was slow, but it's like, dude, we're 20 hours in. Speed it up.
Yeah, like, there's a point where even me would be like, okay, I'm not really that scared of this thing anymore, just come on! It's
Right,
a
yeah.
hallway! Oh, God. That's also going to be kind of fitting for you, since, like, a lot of people like to still watch, like, horror. Like, I feel like there's a subgenre now of, like, like, Christmas-themed horror movies coming out around the holidays. And I feel like in no small part, like, Nightmare Before Christmas, like, really played a part in, like, people liking, the horror of during Christmas. But, like, people have been, like, way more open to, like, oh, yeah, Christmas, it's a time of giving and sharing. And if you don't give and share, Krampus is gonna come and whip ya!
Yep. Or all the games where you have to go and do like cleanup, to where Santa went on a rampage and murdered all of his elves. You know?
Yeah.
So.
It's like, I find that fun that, like, Christmas, because, like, historians would point out that Christmas is always, like, in multiple different cultures and in historical times, the winter holidays have always had, like, a bit of, like, horror to them. If you ever, like, get around to watching Overly Sarcastic Studios, they've got some good bits on, like, very terrifying, like, the hunt from the Witcher 3 series being a thing in real life. And it's terrifying to think, during Santa Claus time, yeah, skeletons are gonna come knocking on your door and be like, don't come outside, we'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Let's not do that.
Alright, we are on the 30 seconds before ads start to come in. I will go ahead and chat 1 second. I gotta tell Alistair to chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a couple of VTubers have, like, a little, like, bot pet that they have, and, like, that is what ends up being used.
Oh, I actually have a pet in mind. His name is Sebastian.
Ooh.
And the program that you want to use is Pet. Oh, what was it called? VTS Pog is the name of the program, and it is really good.
Oh my god, Pog.
I know Pog, but it's P.O.G. I don't know what it stands for. I didn't really pay that much attention. I just downloaded
personal, oblivious goober.
Something like that, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna change the topic now to my favorite thing: ttrpgs with a tiny s for plural.
You didn't miss anything at all in the ads. We didn't start talking about something, and then I go, "Oh, we should stop."
Oh no, not whatsoever. And whenever the VOD comes out, I totally won't be cutting out the ad break for time. So yeah, I was prepping Katharina on. By the way, is Kath fine for short? Or Raina?
Absolutely not. No, you can call me Kath. That's fine.
All right, cool. I'm gonna call you Raina then, because fuck you.
That's fine. Call me Raina. I have people who call me Raina. That's actually my nickname if you go to my VTuber wiki. It's either Kath or Raina or Little Goblin Boy, which has a story behind it, so let's not talk about that. But
no, hold on!
Call me Raina.
Wait, hold on a minute! You cannot say Little Goblin Boy and then... No, hold on. I'm changing the title of what we're on right now. Hold on. / Little Goblin Boy ? Exclamation point. This is how important this is. It's super tall in the type now.
Nice. So how I got that one is we had a friend named Tavern, and he actually modded us into a game called Shining Force. And so we actually have pixel characters, and we were the main characters. And my partner Paladin Verdant and I, because the random characters in the game were replaced, Tavern didn't tell us whom he replaced with our models. So Paladin Verdant was just walking through the game, and then he sees this green character higher up on the screen, and his first initial reaction was, "Well, it's a little goblin boy," and he walks up to my character, and then he turns to my character, and my character slow turns to him, and there's this death pause. And then he realizes it's me and starts dying because he just called me a little goblin boy live on stream.
I think the hilarity is not even just the little goblin boy comment, but just how, because if you've ever watched a cartoon where a character turns their body or their head and you hear the grinding of stone, I literally just played that in my head. It's just what's with that little goblin boy? As they turn around, it's just just that little batch of silence of just what the hell.
Mm-hmm. It made it even better because I was in call with him at the time, and I was flabbergasted because we both saw it in real time, and then I was like, "Did you just call me a little goblin boy?
Did you just misgender the goblin witch?"
So that's why I put that in there. And can you call me Raina? Call me Raina.
I want to call you Goblin Boy now. That's amazing. Oh god. Okay, so yes, TTRPGs. During the break, I was starting to fish for talking about TTRPG stuff. I desperately want to talk about my favorite TTRPG, but as the guest, I wanted to pick your brain over your experiences with TTRPGs. But then you kind of mentioned something interesting. You started with D&D 3.5, and you were saying it took you a really long time to get into 5e. I would love to know what was the series or the singular breaking factor that finally got you to be like, oh wait, hold on, I kind of like 5e.
Well, I don't like it yet. But the reason I changed to 5e is because it's a lot easier to stream 5e than 3.5.
Is it because of the analytics, or 3.5 is just so much meatier that it's hard for people to keep up with it?
None of that, actually. It was... Foundry is based off of 5th edition, so...
Oh...
And basically any maps that you find online, all the characters, any of the monsters that you find with anything, it's all 5th edition nowadays. Nobody builds anything in 3.5 anymore. So we've been running my game for 3 years now, and so I learned 5th edition specifically for this online game that we're playing because it has, easy access to the character sheets on D&D Beyond. We're able to look stuff up fairly quickly, and they didn't have to learn 3.5 because apparently I'm outdated, even though I've memorized every single rule in 3.5. and I own every single book in 3.5, and I've read every single book. Occasionally they'll catch me when I say, "Hey, do this roll," and they were go, "That's the 3.5 thing." You're right. You're right. What's the 5th edition version of this?
Listen, I suffer the same problem because I started my TTRPG experience with 5th edition. So since I have transitioned into Pathfinder 2nd edition, which is more my now go-to rules-heavy system, I'll still say something like, "Hey, make a history check for me," and all my players would be like, "Do you mean a knowledge check?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, yeah, make a knowledge check leaning nature," and it's like, I know what I'm trying to say. I genuinely think Pathfinder 2nd edition is a more fun experience than 5th edition for me. I won't say objectively, but for me. But, like, my brain still says things like, "Hey, make a dexterity saving throw." They're like, do you mean you want me to roll acrobatics, or do you want a dex save? I'm like, "I'm sorry, yeah, I want you to roll acrobatics."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. But no, that makes sense. I feel like as Foundry has gotten more popular, I think you would be able to find more stuff that would work with 3.5. I will also add, unless... I don't know enough about 3.5 with, like, its measurements, but, like, I know that Foundry has a very easy setting to where even if you're playing a different system, you can change how the measurements are with movement. So whatever maps you're getting, like, someone might say, "This is for D&D 5th edition." I'm like, not anymore. Now it's my Pathfinder map. Thank you. And you just
Yeah,
like,
you can adjust all that, which is really nice.
yeah, so, but I also understand fully what you mean, that, like, D&D 5e is sort of, like, still the core. I'm very curious, even though I've, like, kind of wiped my hands of the D&D brand, I'm very curious from an outside looking in how the 2024 version is going to land with people over time, because 5th edition has got a lot of problems, at least for me. There's flaws with any TTRPG, but 5e has issues that, like, I don't feel like they fully fixed in the newer one. I feel like there's a handful of issues that, like, either were ignored or even made worse. And that's kind of the consensus that I'm getting on 2024 D&D a lot. Have you, like, looked into too much of it or anything?
Honestly, I have not. No. Cuz I homebrew a lot of stuff in my games because I'm a 3.5 player, I know of all the trinkets and all the cool stuff in 3.5. And so what I usually do is I take something I like from my system that I like, and I push it into the mold of 5th edition, and they're like, "Okay, so this is what this is." And they go, "Are you sure?" And I go, "Yes. I'm the DM. I said it does this. It does this now."
because I told you to.
Because I said that that's what that does. Now you have a box of colding. You just have to deal with that now.
Nice. Okay, so since I don't want to make this a bitching session. That is
No, go ahead.
absolutely not what I want this show to be. However, as someone who does not have a love for 5e, would you like to know what about 5e, at its core, mechanically, what just absolutely makes me not want to ever go back to it?
Is it Ranger? Because Ranger makes me sad.
Ranger makes me sad too, though I will admit, I think from Tasha's onward, Ranger got reworked to be a lot better. Also, when I was playing 5e a lot, I went into the third party content, so I, like, got a bunch of, like, homebrewed official. I gave somebody $5, they gave me a better version of Ranger that works kind of thing. No, so it's actually a core mechanic. Since I got away from D&D, I have found several TTRPGs have a similar mindset of letting you fail forward. 5e does not have, in my opinion, a very well-established method of rewarding your players for eating shit and then having to, like, go with it. Because I remember both as a player and a GM, if I underrolled, I was just fucked. There was nothing I could do. I would be in the right position, or I would be in a bad position because the other players around me just don't. 5e does not push cooperativeness. Like, if you've got players who are cooperative, awesome, but I don't feel like 5e really pushes a team-based focus. So either as the GM or the player, I would be put in a bad situation, and I couldn't get out of it, because that was the night I couldn't roll above a 10. And there's a point where I've learned that if a TTRPG doesn't have the ability to give a player a chance to get out of that hole, that is what I consider the term save or suck. And 5th edition is riddled with it. And I realized after 10 years of playing this shit, I don't like that. I actually hate it. Because I would be that guy who would make a fairly balanced character, and then the game said, "Why did you not try to break me, you idiot?"
Fair.
But now what I'm experiencing a lot is in Pathfinder, in the Cypher system, in Monster of the Week. Almost every other TTRPG I've gotten into, there is some method of being able to recover from that. Pathfinder has this system where they have inspiration very similar to 5e, but it's written in the rules that at the beginning of every session, characters get a free inspiration for that session, meaning that there will always be a chance for you to save your ass if things don't go your way. And the book also like really pushes that, hey, if the players come up with something really clever, just give everybody's inspiration. Like, let them have this mechanic. This shit's gonna get crazy down the road.
So
go ahead.
Can I just admit to you something live on stream right now?
Yeah.
Because I'm new-ish to 5th edition, I don't think I've ever given inspiration.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, Cap. 5e really doesn't give you, like, the 5e books don't really push you or give you good examples of when to give inspiration. So to compare them with 5e, it's just inspiration is a side rule. It's not a main part of the game. If you want to use it, go for it. Which means most people don't use it.
Yeah.
Pathfinder, inspiration is a core rule of the game. How much you give is up to you. Here's 5 different examples of how to use inspiration.
I feel like maybe the way that I play the game then is probably wrong, because what I do when my characters fail too hard is I have a percentile and I go high or low, and then I give them a chance, a 50-50 chance to either fail good or continue failing very poorly. And if they succeed, I let their spell, even though it failed, do half damage, or if they get on the other side, they may accidentally hit a teammate.
I actually think that's a brilliant compromise. That's actually that's clever. Because that makes it to where inspiration remains an unnecessary part of the game, but you are giving your players a chance to not completely succumb to bad luck rolls. I wish I had thought of it. That's really clever.
But yeah, so it's anytime if they either roll really poorly or if they're like, I want to do this thing, will it work? And I go, well, high or low, let's see. And then I let the dice decide, will this work for you or not? And if the dice say it'll work, I go, okay, sure, I'll make that work for you. So
I love that. I actually think if you ever want to have like some additional reading tools on how to not how to run your game, but like things that might help, that level of thinking is something that I think you would click with. It's called it's an oracle book. Oracle books within the TTRPG community are basically books that help you come up with stuff on the fly or help you prep for a game if like you just can't think of anything. Like you'll roll on a couple of tables and then suddenly you have an adventure, a bad guy, and a damsel in distress.
I actually have a ton of those books. One of my favorite books is the Toolkit, where it's a book of just making traps by rolling dice, and it's really, really good.
Oh, we're trading book. It's book club time. It's book club time. I would love if you could send me a link of where to get that, because I'm awful at making traps. If I could have a book help me like make something like that the players have to get around, that'd be very fun. My suggestion to you is going to be something called the Mythic GM Emulator.
Mm-hmm.
It is a book that, on one hand, talks and lets you kind of use a very rules-light system of running a TTRPG on its own. But the thing that I really like about it is that it helps me do the heavy lifting of the in-between stuff. So let me give an example. Let's say that I've created the entrance to an adventure, and I have one or two ways I think the adventure is going to end. But, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly have all of the middle stuff because I'm the kind of GM where I don't like over-prepping, because when I over-prep and then the players do something I don't expect, my brain shuts off.
Uh,
So what I like to do is I like to have literally a handful of ideas of what I'm doing, have them in play, and then have the characters muck about in the world and try and figure stuff out while having a very clear goal. But let's say
mm-hmm.
they get to a tavern and they're supposed to be looking for, like, a thief. How the Mythic GM emulator works is the players will then go, okay, cool, do we know what this thief looks like? Let's say I realize in the middle of the game, like, oh shit, I never did land on how I want the character to look. I say,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. What do you want them to look like? What do you think they look like? And then somebody will offhandedly go, maybe they have a platypus build. I'm like, roll me 2d10s. And they're like, what? Roll me 2d10s. They roll 2d10s. I then add what's called a chaos factor to their roll. And let's say in that case, it gets a 12. All right, you happen to notice a cloaked figure in the back having a bit of a hard time hiding their face due to a bright yellow duck bill kind of jutting out of their hood. Then the next player says, "Are they tall or short?" Rolls the dice. They are not short; they're tall, which even makes them more dubious. And it just keeps going on and on like that until eventually we have Perry, the buff-ass platypus, as their thief.
Nice.
And then the cool thing is, because it hasn't ruined what my initial plan is, like, I still did enough work to come up with who the real villain is, what the plot twist is. What happens in between doesn't matter. Like, all I have to do now is think of, cool, how am I gonna kill Perry the Platypus for drama reasons now? That'll be fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a really fun way of doing NPCs similar to that in my world. My characters usually I play with guys, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they walk around and they do guy things or whatever. And I, as a female, am like, okay, all right. So you want to date someone? All right, cool, 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 cool. You're
I
going
feel
to build
attacked.
the person you're dating. You're gonna build the person you're dating, and then you're going to tell me how it's going. So that is a character that you control. You are now controlling an NPC if you want to date them. I don't play your NPC, you build them.
Uh,
And then I take their NPC and I toy with them.
again, my way too active brain, and then I take their NPC and I smash it with a hammer.
Actually, in my current game, all of my characters have significant others that they themselves have built. One of them has a book shopkeeper that he kind of liked and took over as his girlfriend. Another one found a random drow in a bar that his character fell head over heels for. Another one took a female NPC that I was trying to kill episode 1 that they saved and has now been dragged along with them to episode 155. Uh and then the other one is head over heels for the princess, who is not interested in him at all.
Oh my
Um,
god, girl, keep going. This is dramatic as hell.
and so currently in my game, the one who's with the party, the character who took her, had turned to stone last session, and so she was devastated that he had turned to stone. Well, it was actually only like a 24-hour petrification spell. They didn't know that because nobody rolled high enough to check that. And so
Ah.
everyone freaked out. They were like, we're gonna go to the town that's 3 days away to go find someone to undo this curse or this petrification. And so she stayed behind. And when he woke up, she essentially had a meltdown saying, that's it. You're not doing anything bad anymore. You and I are dating. We're going back to town and you're giving it up. And she's like, she went into like a whole thing. There was a monologue in game last session. Aside from her, though, another one of my characters found a book. I made them a specific book where it's basically he can text his girlfriend, which is the bookstore keeper. So it's these twin books where if he writes in one, it shows up in the other. And so occasionally I'll do things like his girlfriend is babysitting a kid, and last session the kid got a hold of that book and was writing to him, and he was getting progressively more and more irritated because a child was writing in his love's book instead of his love, who he was trying to get in contact with, which was really good. And then unfortunately, the other one whose girlfriend he found in the bar, she's currently missing because the city that they left to go where they are right now is currently under siege and their shield just went down. And so she may or may not be alive. I haven't decided yet.
Listen, did you guys catch that? Did you hear that? That God complex? I haven't decided yet. It's very subtle, but like that's what being a GM will do to you. You'll get drunk on the power. Like when you feel confident in your game, you get drunk on the power and you're just like, good. Now suffer.
Yeah. No, it is all suffering. And the princess, who the one character has a crush on, she's missing. Because there was a coup in the royal city, which is where like all of the stuff's going down right now, and she's probably kidnapped. Hopefully not dead.
I love this because I think you are hitting home something that even I'm not great at, because I been playing TTRPGs for years, and even I like fall into this trap of trying to make the stories bigger than they need to be. I feel like some of the best TTRPG experiences is when you keep things pretty grounded in like personal stuff that the characters are doing. Like, give them reasons to go out and explore the world, but like, this is why I'm like so heavy on, if you're gonna play a TTRPG, you have to be making a character who is for the group. Because if you make a solo character, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go do my own thing. I got my own stuff going on. It's like, okay, bye.
Like, I have a story about that.
Why are you here?
Right? Oh my gosh, I have a horror story from back in the day of a character who tried to play the loner and then got upset at me that he didn't go with the party.
We'll trade. I'm gonna get you share your story, and then I will share you my harrowing experience that made me hate Curse of Strahd.
Oh no, I've never played Curse of Strahd.
I'll get to tell you why I don't think you ever should.
Okay, cool. So mine was, I'm gonna cut out a lot of names and stuff like that, but in mine I had a mage city where like above ground it was beautiful, everything was run by magic, the street lamps, everything, right? But then there's the undercity, which is obviously the opposite because everyone nice is upstairs and everyone bad is downstairs. And there's this big long tunnel in between the two. Well, one of my characters was being this lone wolf type character, and he was like, I'm staying home today, you guys go on without me. And everyone's like, no, we're going to the undercity today, it's like an hour walk, you're gonna be gone for this entire adventure. And he was like, it's whatever, I'm staying home today. And so they're going into the undercity, and I have encounters built into them, right? And they're doing a quest in the undercity, and he's sitting at home twiddling his thumbs because that's what his character wanted to do. And I'm like, he's like, is there anything I'm doing? I go, no, you said you wanted to sit in the tavern. There's nothing happening here. It's just a normal day in the tavern.
Like, jack all is happening, my guy. The adventure was where I was telling you to go.
Yeah.
It's difficult because there's so many like arguments that I feel like I've heard over the years of, that's what my character would do, but I'm trying to build a morally gray character. Here's my hot take in TTRPGs. If you're in your 20s and you say that you want to play a morally gray character, you what you're really saying is, hi, I want to play a villain, but I'm a coward and won't say it outright.
Yeah.
And listen, everyone, I'm putting that label on me too. I'm 31 now. I look back at 20-year-old Basil and go, you little shit.
I thinking about it, yeah, one of my very first characters was a half-elf ranger assassin. That was my very first character.
Were they morally gray?
Well, she was an assassin, so, you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like, well, actually, here we go. Like, was this an assassin character post or pre the Assassin's Creed boom?
Well, this was 3.5, so before.
But definitely before. Either just before or like just as Assassin's Creed was happening. No, it would definitely be before because like 3.5 is very much older. But yeah, so that makes sense cuz like I'm Ubisoft poisoned. Like I hear assassin, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, the noble assassins." My dumb ass is like, "Assassin, buddy, no." I'd be like, "Listen, yeah, if you want, but like no, don't assume that."
She was not a noble assassin. She was not. No. Mm-mm. She was one of the very first characters I ever drew, and she had, funnily enough, a dancing scythe that she would let go in combat so it could distract people while she shanked them in the back.
Ah, themes never leave. So, I will also not share names, and I will also preface this story by saying that I am also guilty in making this Curse of Strahd experience kind of shitty by purely not leaving when I should have. If there's any hard lesson I've learned about playing in TTRPG groups is get out early. Like if the story and the vibe is not matching with you and you can like you think about it even for a little bit and you know it's not going to be what you want, get out early. The more invested you are, the harder it's going to be to get out, and at the same time, you're probably going to screw everyone else over because they're like, "But wait, I was invested in your character." It's like, "Yeah, but I hate your character. Bye." So, the problem I have with Curse of Strahd is the entire concept of the story is that you are basically in one of the worst situations you can possibly be in. Hold on a second, my wife is here.
Hi, wifey.
Do you feel better, puppy? That now that mom cut off all of your gross gnats?
It looks like a dead rat.
It does. Oh no, Chester.
Chester,
no! My wife cut off our puppies like mats in their fur, and it's just poor thing.
No.
So yeah, Curse of Strahd. The whole concept is that your characters are trapped within Barovia and can't get out. You might as well be in purgatory. And everything constantly sucks. Like, no one's happy. Everyone's dying and or is dead. Strahd could kill you in a moment's notice, but never does, which is not what we're talking about. That's a completely different reason I hate the adventure. But the problem I have is that I have yet to get a group together who are on the same page when it comes to Curse of Strahd. And the reason why is because Curse of Strahd has so much, like, you have to do something awful. There's, like, some degree of awful your character is going to have to do for the greater good. And when people hear that, especially when they're young 20-somethings, I feel like what they hear is, I understand. The ends justify the means. And I feel like when you're older and you actually know what it means for things to be shades of gray, you'll recognize as an adult, like, oh, this is not, oh, let's make things worse. It's no, let me actually think about what the better of the two shitty situations are. Instead, my character constantly kept bickering. My character and me out of game, actually, to be fair, kept bickering with the players over not being the worst fucking people in the world. Like, no, stop mugging that guy. That, like, we already have the information we want. No, let's not make a pact with a demon. I don't care if they say they have the answer. This is obviously a trap. No, let's not help Strahd get out of Barovia. He's clearly going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, the players were not bad for wanting that. The problem is, none of us started this campaign agreeing with where the story would want to go. I went in wanting to play a story where good people and good characters have to do terrible things for the greater good, but terrible things to themselves, not to the people around them. Other players wanted to play a very dark, like, the horror is what people will do to make a happy ending, only to realize it's not happy at all. It's like, oh god, none of us can agree. And so to me, Curse of Strahd is like the go-to example of a book that has a story that is very good and very interesting, but is one of the antithesis of a story that fails to make everyone come together. And to me personally, unless like the TTRPG is specifically something about being competitive with each other, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like you shouldn't be having conflict within your party all the time if you're gonna go on an adventure. Like, you have to have, your character has to have a reason to want to hang out with these people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ugh.
So why do you hate it?
So why do I hate Curse of Strahd, or why do I hate D&D 5e?
Oh, why do you hate Curse of Strahd specifically?
I think going back and actually reading the book myself and trying to make an interesting game, it's so depressing, and it just keeps telling you, fuck over your players. No, fuck over your players. Keep doing that, and if they're still around after a very particular scene, now you can start giving them the tools to kill Strahd. It doesn't make any sense that Strahd's letting you do this. Like, Strahd can literally keep seeing you. Like, there's a point in the book where I keep looking for a point in the book that's like, is there anything in this module that, like, gives the players a means to get away from Strahd, or, like, to keep him? The book mentions, yeah, come up with a reason, idiot.
Oh,
and
that's
I'm just
so frustrating.
Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck you, Gabe. You either have written it to where Strahd is so egotistical he's actually brain dead, or you just said, fuck you, figure it out. You're the GM. Okay.
You're going live on my side.
Okay, I think we're good. I think Spectrum decided to wake the hell up. Okay. Sorry, and thank you for that, for the patience on that. I will have a hell of a time editing that out of the VOD later. Where were we?
We were talking about what other games I have played, and I said, I've played World of Darkness and Vampire the Masquerade, and then you're like, I've got it. I've got my answer. And I go, okay.
Yeah, because from our perspective, like, there was just silence. I didn't hear anything. So my brain was just like, they're being cute and being like, this is how I will say I don't.
I see. Yeah, no, I was totally talking to you. What?
World of Darkness. So that's actually fascinating because I was trying to get into the newer version of World of Darkness, and I think the Hunter's book is still something I'd be very interested in. You know what? Can you sell me on Vampire the Masquerade? Because I am so confused on what the appeal of it is.
Do you like political intrigue?
I can.
Do you like political intrigue where you have to basically hide who you are at all times and manipulate the world around you without letting anybody know?
That I could definitely be convinced to have fun with.
That is what my games of Vampire the Masquerade has always been. So if you're either a Camarilla or a Sabbat, Sabbat is more for the players who want to be gung-ho, they want to use their powers in front of people, they want to be antsy, right? The Camarilla is the hoity-toity vampires who are like, oh yes, I'm the business owners, I'll own this business and be blah 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 blah. And so like that's the Camarilla. So you could play either of them, but either way you have to uphold what they call like the veil in between. So as long as humans don't know that there's vampires in the city, like blatantly, then you hold the mask. And if anybody is caught like telling people that there are vampires and vampires are real, they get knocked out, like gone forever.
Gosh, you see that could be interesting. I think that's one of those games I would enjoy one shots in. Not saying that like I couldn't see campaigns happening, but it's definitely like, oh, this is not a me thing. Because like what I would end up wanting to do is be a vampire and set up like I would want to go in and like keep up the masquerade, keep all that good stuff going. But I'd want to set up and establish where like I become like a force of good, like I'm a pillar of the community. I actually don't like because I've deep dived the lore of the vampire of just the world of darkness. I'd want to be an actually morally gray hero or an anti-hero where it's like, yes, I'm a vampire. Yes, I drink the blood of people. But I also gave you free healthcare and you can actually go to that vacation with your family, no questions asked. Like, that's the kind of character I would want to build. And whenever I bring that up to people, they're just kind of like, you can't really be a good person in Vampires the Masquerade. And I'm like, well, fuck.
Well, see, there's a difference. The reason why people find it extremely hard to be a good vampire in Vampire the Masquerade is because they lose their humanity. I don't know if New World of Darkness has the humanity scale, but the more bad things that you do, the harder it is to keep your humanity, and the more your humanity slips out of your fingers, the harder it is for your character to actually understand what being good means.
Oh, I kind of like... Again, not something I would like to play, but, like, I see the appeal of, like, the horror in that. Ooh, that's fun.
And you don't actually tell that you're losing your humanity because it's just something like, oh, I don't like puppies anymore. I know it's a terrible one, but like, it slowly slips through your fingers and then suddenly you stab someone and you don't think about it anymore because you're not desensitized. You just don't think that this human bag of flesh matters anymore.
That is interesting. I don't know if the newer Vampire has that. I will say Hunter, the Reckoning, the new version of Hunter, does have a similar aspect of... So I know in the old World of Darkness, they used to have sort of like hunters be a little bit superpowered. Like they had sort of like this other voice telling them like, you have powers, go do things. And they were almost as, I don't want to say one note. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, radical in their, like, class and in their beliefs as, like, a vampire would be, which kind of, like, made the dichotomy interesting. In the new Hunters, their whole thing is, like, there is still, like, a sanity or like a reality meter to where like you have to do more and more things to like make things happen, but it's more likely you're just gonna get killed if you like don't resort to doing like what you don't want to do.
Right.
Okay. And then I've also looked into werewolf. Wow, werewolf.
I am not a personal fan of werewolf. I understand my friends who like it a lot, but I'm not like a pack mentality kind of person.
I can follow that. What I've learned from deep diving both the new and werewolf, the new and old werewolf, if you play new werewolf, there's a lot of good mechanical stuff going on, but the lore in werewolf is very like... I'm not gonna beat around the bush. There's a lot of like vibe of, oh yeah, like we're all indigenous. Yeah, and then if you go into old werewolf, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I found this really funny TikTok that opened up old werewolf and like it was like, don't be racist. Opens up the book and they just hear gunfire everywhere.
Yeah. See, I started playing that whole system, the World of Darkness system, in old World of Darkness. So, like, I knew old Vampire and old Werewolf and old Mage, and I purchased the new books. And I liked them a lot better because it wasn't insane anymore.
The thing that I have noticed with the newer version and the older version is that, like, I like to think that the lore could go back to being like over the top with like shit like lizard men in the center of the earth and whatnot, but like the mechanics, oh my god, some of the things in the old World of Darkness are so janky and so all over the place. What in the actual hell?
Yeah. Fun fact, one of the stories from old Vampire was, I don't remember which sect it was anymore, but there was a Vampires in the Dark Ages, a whole clan who got very upset at a certain group of people that don't like pork. And so apparently
Good
they basically dug the entire town like out and then put raw pork, just covered the entire town. They killed pigs for miles and miles and just covered this town in dead pig for fun, because it was just a story in one of, those side stories that you read, and I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
And see, and that's kind of what's kept me from World of Darkness, because even the newer books still have like the inklings. Like the way that I would describe it is, in Vampire and Hunter, I think it's a lot less, but in Werewolf specifically, it feels like the writers are too cowardly to address the older unsavory shit from the old books, but like they also are unintentionally just like, yes, you white man who has become a werewolf, here are these very clearly indigenous methodologies we have put into the core of our game.
Yeah.
And like once I started like copying to what was going on there, I was like, fuck, I can't play this, I'll feel bad. It feels wrong. But I'm glad we talked about that, because that does lead me into possibly our last segment, depending on how long you want to keep jibber-jabbering for. We go into the cipher system, because if you have played World of Darkness, I think the cipher system is something that would be very interesting to you. So here's essentially the idea of it. You know how in World of Darkness, you're basically only rolling like a handful of like d6s, 8s, or 12s or whatnot, depending on like how good you are at that skill.
Okay.
Cipher system has a similar very simplicity of it. You're only ever rolling a d20, and what happens is the GM has to decide on the level of difficulty, and every level of difficulty up to 10 is multiplied by 3. So if you're like trying to pickpocket a security guard, that might be, and it's like a not a very well armed security guard, it's like a mall cop. Maybe that's like a difficulty 1 or 2, so you have to roll a 6 or a 9 max on a d20. Right. Versus, you have to arm wrestle the god of strength. That is a difficulty 10, which means it's 30.
Oh, no.
And how the players get around to that. Oh, with another ad break here in the next 5-ish minutes, so I will snooze. Yeah, ads are snoozed for 5 minutes. I'll go ahead and delay that. You've got, so let's say that it's that 30, right? Well, your characters still have things like skills and proficiencies and abilities that can make that roll go lower. So let's say you're trying to arm wrestle Zeus, or like some representation of Zeus, but your character is trained in, muscular or athletic kinds of, roles. So since you're trained in that, you get to drop that difficulty 10 to a difficulty 9. So now it's not a 30, it's a 27. But then let's also say that you have an item called a cipher, which is like a gauntlet that increases your strength 10-fold, which in meta just means you get a free enhancement on any roll you're making. So now that 9 is now an 8, and so on and so forth. Like, you either use your own skills, abilities, allies can help you if they roll really well, and then you roll into d20, and then it either does what it needs to or doesn't. Except, this is where it comes into play what I mentioned before about that aspect of ttrpgs I like. Let's say you had to beat a difficulty of 5, so a 15, and you, like, that's as far as you got it. You roll your d20 and you get a 14. So you're like, ah, darn, I was so close. This is where this gets fun. Every character has something called effort. You are able to spend some of your stats, which is like your speed, your intellect, or your might. You spend 3 points of those stats, and you can lower the difficulty again. So you say, all right, I got a 14. I know I can beat a 12. So I'm going to burn 3 points in my might pool, and I'm going to automatically succeed on this roll.
Okay.
And what gets this interesting is that your stat pool also acts as your health. So if you, like, are going to get hit by a monster and they're going to do, like, 5 points of damage, you might say, no, screw that, I'll take 3 points to my health instead and dodge the attack, essentially doing less damage to me. And where this gets even more fun with that is that it's really easy to recover your stat points. Either you get a couple of free easy rolls to make in the middle of battle. Maybe you guys in-game spent some money on health potions, which, as written with the way the book lays everything out, is as simple as this health potion works as a free recovery roll. So you can just heal yourself again in the middle of the fight if you take an action to chug down a health potion. And so there's so many ways to get around what's going on, and the thing that's so fun is that the only people who roll are the players. Is the boss attacking the player? Player makes a defense roll. Is the player attacking the boss? The player makes an attack roll. The GM doesn't do anything but say how tough it's gonna be. And with all the different, with the monster books and with all the other additional books with Cypher, in general, if you know you want the boss to be hard and they're like a tier 2 or tier 1 character, you'll make a character be at max a level 5 creature. So generally your players have to beat a 15, and if they get hit by something, then they take 5 points of damage. And that doesn't seem like a lot until you realize, oh, I only have 10 points of HP in all 3 of my stats. Oops!
Uh-oh.
So I have found with this system, it's very easy for me to both run and play because everything is very, like, I don't want to say bare bones, but it's very simple. And from that simplicity, you can add more and more difficulty and more shifting in what's going on. And while there's a couple of different games under the Monty Cook games that run the Cypher system, the actual core Cypher book, like the rule set itself, is so vast. You can be everything. Like, I like to joke, but it's very true. You can be anything from a Power Ranger to a pack of werewolves to stand users from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It will work. And it has become genuinely one of my favorite TTRPG systems. Like, I love playing Pathfinder, but the Cypher system, I desperately want to get more people to play this and try it out. Like, you can do some wacky shit with this system.
Fair. It sounds really interesting.
I was reading the other day, one of them is literally, Howl at the Moon. I'm like, oh, it's a werewolf thing, right? Read into it, it's like, oh, it's the entire concept of not being able to control your werewolf as a mechanic. Ooh, I want to play this.
Yeah, because that's, like, a lot of games these days are like, oh no, you're a werewolf. Oh no.
I know.
But then it's not actually an issue, but it's an issue. People don't like being were creatures because you have no control over yourself when you're forced to change. Like, that's the whole thing, but people have, like, babyfied it.
Yeah, to give an example of how that works in Cypher, so if you choose the foci, or, like, the thing that your character does, if you choose the foci Howls at the Moon, the very first thing it tells you is, like, beast form, and the mechanics, the short version of it is, 5 consecutive days, once a month, you have to turn into this beast form. And the only way to stop yourself from going on a killing rampage for a full hour is to roll an intellect check on a difficulty of 5. So if you don't... Actually, no, I'm wrong. It's a difficulty 3. So if you don't roll on a 12 or higher, you go and kill everything for 1 hour. And you have to do that 5 days in some consecutive order. So I mapped it out, and I was like, the best you can do within a month is have 2 days 1 week, and then 1 day the other 3 weeks where you just lose your shit. And I'm just sitting here, and I'm like, okay, so there is a way to save yourself from doing this. And my brain was already like, I want so badly to run a werewolf game where everyone is trying to, like, do, Stranger Things levels of, like, solving mysteries, but they're also having to plan around, like, a time limit thing like Persona before they turn into werewolves and kill everybody.
That would be a lot of fun, yeah.
I'm just looking forward to, like, grabbing more people and trying that. And then again, like, I love playing Pathfinder. Like, Pathfinder is my go-to for, like, a crunchy rule set. But the problem is, like, knowing how I am as a person, I get too bogged down by, like, all the things going on in Pathfinder. Like, if I'm playing, all I gotta care about is my one character. But if I'm running it, and I have to do a boss fight, and then I look at the boss character sheet, and I'm like, oh god, you have so many things going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with bosses, man.
And, like, it's exactly why, like, my trick is that I like to go out of my way to, like, boost up the bosses ever so slightly and just make it the group versus the boss. So far, it's worked very well in Pathfinder. My experience doesn't work a damn in D&D 5e. But in Pathfinder, it does work fine, so there's the caveat. But, like, my brain is also like, but wouldn't it be fun if you had a bunch of, like, other things happen before the big boss? I'm like, yeah, brain, but I'm not smart enough to juggle that shit. It's like, well, you got the cipher system.
With the cipher system. Yeah, my players know that they need to run a marathon with me. I don't give them time to rest in between mini encounters before the boss. I have trained them for that, because when we first started playing our game, they blew all of their spells on the little mini things leading up to the boss room, and then I didn't let them rest. Because in 5th edition, what bothers me the most is if you let your party take short rests or long rests, they basically start over, right?
Yeah.
So I never let them take a long rest. Everything's timed, and I'm like, all right, if you take a rest right now, things and this is gonna happen, and this is gonna happen, and, like, this person's been kidnapped. You don't know if they're gonna survive 8 more hours in that cell, probably by the necromancer. You know, you might need another body to play with. So I always give them a sense of urgency so that they never have a rest. And now they're too scared to use their spells early because they're like, what is she gonna throw at us today? Like the last time I had an unspeakable horror.
See, I'm on the opposite end where I will let my players rest if it makes sense in the story, but if I'm doing that, then that means that I have every justification to throw a boss creature at them that will do some damage. The problem, when it comes to... And I want to make this clear. If you like 5e, good on you. I'm not here to ruin your time. I'm purely talking about my own experiences. But this one time in D&D... I threw a zombie beholder at, like, my level 3 4-player team. And at the time, I was like, oh, the CR matches, like, what these guys should be capable of doing, so this should be fine. One of the players caught wind that I was gonna use a zombie beholder, and they're like, Basil, what the fuck? And I'm like, what's wrong? You do realize a zombie beholder can use disintegration on us, right? And I'm like, ha! So
You didn't read all that.
I looked deeper into the boss, because this was very early on. Like, I was really running late on making the preparations for this game, so I thought, oh, this monster looks cool. It fits the setting. And it's a CR whatever monster. This should be fine. Looked into Disintegration. I'm like, well, yeah, I assumed it was going to be like a weaker version of Disintegration. And they were like, no, you need to read this. And for those who are not aware, Disintegration, even at high level, is an insta-kill. It will nuke your character if you're not lucky. And remember what I said about D&D 5e being save or suck? So the player was rightfully double-checking with me if that was what I meant to give them as a starting boss at a starting level 3 adventure. And I had to kind of finagle an interesting mechanic to make the Disintegration a threat, but not insta-kill.
Fair.
And I think that was like the point where I officially thought to myself, okay, you cannot run D&D anymore. You're bad at it. You need a different rule system that is more consistent and doesn't ask of you to be amazing at things.
That's really funny, because I can think of a couple of ways to change Disintegration, specifically if you accidentally have a character that has Disintegration, which an example could be like, maybe it's a baby zombie beholder. It hasn't gotten really used to its spells yet, so its Disintegrate only works on inanimate objects. And so it can accidentally make your party nude. And I would be amused with that.
And see, that's where I think it just, like, this is where, like, it takes all kinds, like, whenever you're gonna be a GM. Because at the time, all I was thinking about was, I really need a fight that's gonna make these guys sweat. They've been asking for, like, hard combat, but this is going too hard. And that Disintegration is, like, the deadliest thing in this thing's combat. Nowadays, especially with Pathfinder or the Cypher system, I'm a lot more confident in being able to finagle a boss where I realize, oh, this is too tough. Because, like, let's pretend that, like, this situation happened in either Pathfinder or Cypher, because I'm also using my Oracle book, right? Let's say that I realize, oh shit, this is gonna insta-kill them. I then decide in the middle of the game, like, hold on a second. I secretly roll something on the fate dice, and I'm like, does the Disintegration Ray work on this creature? And then it says yes. I'm like, okay. Does it work as intended? Roll again. It says no. And then I get to smile and be like, I'm going to make these guys sweat to figure out how the Disintegration works, because even I don't know.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
And then the fun just comes into play where the players get to, like, throw in their own 2 cents of, well, what if it was this way? Roll some dice. The dice said yes. That's how it works now. And so, with that logic, I could probably still also make D&D work, but so many of 5e, like 5e, like printed by Wizards of the Coast books are so janky like that, where there is no consistency of difficulty. And I just sit there and I'm like, if I'm gonna have to do this every time I just want to pick a monster out of the book, then something's wrong with this game. Like, this isn't fun. This is, like, sometimes I just want to pick a monster in a book and then just throw it at the guys and just see how they handle it.
Very fair, yeah. I remember when Dragon and Dungeon magazines were really popular. Do you remember those?
I did not get into TTRPGs until long after, but I do know of them.
Okay. So, I remember looking into, like, custom-made monsters that Wizards of the Coast would release, like, weekly or whatever, right? One of the favorite monsters that I've never played in any game because it's too evil is that it's a monster that stalks a party through a forest and he steals one of the party members in the back, right? He kidnaps them.
Oh, shit.
And his entire thing is he's an illusion creature that feeds off the character's hope that the party is going to come save him. So he kidnaps the character and then continually gives him hallucinations that his party's so close. They're coming by. Oh no, they've walked away. Oh, they're coming back. And then it just slowly eats them there as their hope in that system was like wisdom or something, and it just eats them until it hits 0, and then once it's 0 they die, because once your wisdom hits 0 you are dead. And so then it just drops the corpse on the ground and it goes after the next character.
I'm stealing that idea. I want
Don't
I want to make that a plot point actually. That sounds fun.
Okay. I mean, you could do it to NPCs, but don't do it to a party member, because if I can find the stats, there was literally no way to find it once it's captured someone, because it's like illusions and like invisibility nonsense, and like it's an assassin as it's eating someone to death.
Wait, but like, so there like wasn't anything built into the monster for like if the players did want to save their ally, which again, if you're playing this game, why wouldn't you? They like there was nothing for them to figure out like how to get it.
This is old Wizards of the Coast. Like, this was the website where they would just throw a random character and idea out every week, so they didn't really flesh it out. It wasn't like a book thing, you know? So
I think I'm gonna steal that concept and I will make it a thing that like the players have to deal with. But again, if it's either gonna be I think the alteration I would make if I would run this in Pathfinder is that if it brings their stat of wisdom down to a 0 after so long, the character is left on the ground and has to make death saves. And if they succeed on the death save, like, that's good, but they still need someone to come by and find them. Like, they might still die if they're not found, which means that the players have probably a better chance to find their ally who got taken before they die, and then the horror is still there of, but wait, we haven't killed it yet, and we don't know when it'll strike again.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid one. Mm-hmm.
And then with again with the cipher system, it would be like I would make that bitch super hard, like mass difficulty, like easily in the 7 or 8 category, and then have an entire plot point around. All right, you need to find a MacGuffin that will help you track this bitch down, and then it's a big old boss fight.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
God,
and then you're fighting an illusion creature.
No, exactly. And then, like, whether you're doing Pathfinder or you're doing Cypher, there's both rule sets, in my experience, have so much where, hey, there's a rule for this. All you need is for your characters to ask the question to the right NPC, and then they have the tools. That doesn't mean it's going to be an easy fight, but now they have the tools.
Right.
But yeah, that's... God, I love ttrpgs. I want to play and run in more.
Oh, they're so good. So I remember I still had some print balance left in college, and I would always print out like stuff off of TTRPG websites, Wizards of the Coast, things like that. And so I would print it and bind it in books for myself. And I would use other people's print balances as well and just get all of that taken care of. And I remember one time when I was in the library printing all of this, the like library person walks up to me and was like, and I had a stack. There was a stack of paper. And they were like, so what are you printing? And I go,
what you
personal
doing?
Stuff. They were like, did you pay for all that? And I go, I look at my piece of paper with everyone's names and passwords because they still had balances left, and I turn it over and I go, yeah.
Oh no, you just admitted to a crime.
No, I didn't. It was legal. I took balances that other people weren't using anymore, and they gave them to me. So it was like they helped print the items.
All right, no, I like that. I like that. I would love to know if they ever like. It's not their prints, as it were, but I wonder if they would get a kick out of knowing that like that's what you used their prints for.
Because I didn't tell them, because I was like, I'm out of print balance. You guys have anything left? I just have a couple things I need to print. And they go, yeah, I've got like $5 left on my print balance. And
you
I go,
told them a couple
okay.
things. Meanwhile, you've got 3 novels worth of D&D stuff.
Oh, I loved printing D&D information. It brought me immense joy.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, we're at the final ad break, and we're almost at the 2-hour mark. I think it's probably a good time to wrap up.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, like, hey, if you want to keep jibber-jabbering. I'm having fun.
I mean, There were so many things we haven't even hit on yet. I'm looking at your Blue Sky post on here. Did we even hit all of these? What is Zenless Zone Zero? I don't think we hit that.
Yeah, so actually, that actually does bring something we can talk about a little bit after the break. So, this is actually good primer, like good ad primer. So are you aware of gacha games?
Oh yeah, they cause me immense stress.
Understandable. I am in this weird middle ground with them where if a gacha is good, like it's a good game, I like the gambling aspect, but I don't spend hundreds of dollars on the game. I am very good at spending at most like 50 to 70 bucks on a banner, so like every couple of weeks. So it's the equivalent of me buying a new video game if I really want something. And if I don't,
Right.
I go weeks without putting any money in it. If not months. So for me, I don't have to worry too much about like putting myself in the hole. Zenless Zone Zero is the only gacha I'm playing right now because the other one Hoyo makes that I liked, Star Rail, finally started being boring to me because they weren't doing anything with their characters that I liked, and I finally just said, all right, you're not going to do anything with these characters. I'm done giving you my money. But Zenless is still young. It's still introducing a lot of new characters and a lot of plot points, so like I'm enjoying my time with it. The aspect I wanted to talk about is some of the leaks that are coming out and some of the goofy drama that happened when the leaks dropped.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we'll save that. We can tackle that, and then of course, like getting your 2 cents on like what aspects of games you like and don't, and like what kind of gets like. If you're down for it, one of the things we can talk about is like what stresses you out about gachas, as if I even have to ask.
So I don't spend any money on gachas. So what stresses me is that you get your one a day.
Yep.
I don't spend money on gachas. So I am like, okay, I get one. Like right now I'm playing Pokemon Pocket and you get 2 gacha packs a day. And so you open it and you get what you get out of the pack of cards, and I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't get anything today.
Okay. Well, the community is back, and they heard a little bit of that. I fully understand that. I think that's why, like, even though I will praise Zenless for, like, its vibe and its themes and everything going on with it, because, like, Zenless is this very fun, like, do you know of, what is it? I can't think of the game I actually want to mention, but, you know what? Actually, I'll look it up really quick. It's like, one sec, punk roller skate old game. Help me, Google, help me. Jet Set Radio, that's it. Have you ever heard of Jet Set Radio?
I have not, no.
Have you ever heard of Lethal League?
Sounds familiar, but I've never seen it.
Okay, for those listening, if you've ever played anything within like the stylings of Jet Set Radio and Lethal League, which the best that I would explain is mundane or modern fantasy sci-fi punk, if those words mean anything to you. So it essentially has like modern sensibilities, maybe a little semi-futuristic in some aspects, but a lot of what's going on in the world is recognizable by a modern standard. However, science and magic are so prevalent in that realm that they essentially are one and the same. And so you've got everything from talking bears, talking cats, robot people that look like Deadpool. You've got a fox girl who also is Nero from Devil May Cry. Also, you have a big-titted blonde woman who really, really likes lighting things on fire.
Nice.
So that's essentially the vibe of Zenless. And the thing that Zenless is going through right now is there have been a handful of leaks talking about some pretty massive changes to the game. Because right now, when you play with a party of 3, only one character can essentially use your team's ultimate after you hit like a certain point in the fight. And so, a lot of people like it. I've always been a little lukewarm to it because, like, you have 3 really interesting characters with really interesting kits, and essentially only your DPS gets to use their ult, even though all the other camera movements and attack animations are really cool from all of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has been leaked that in 1.4, the next major patch that comes, like, end of November, beginning of December, or possibly middle of December, I have to double check. But when that patch drops, a big change they're going to make is that all 3 characters are going to be able to use their own ults. The drama that happened is where things get interesting, because if you know me, I am someone who feels like the appropriate response to most gaming news and to most things within a hobby that you don't like is to not scream about it. Unless something is actively racist or evil, there's no point in getting mad. Best example I can give before jumping into how people reacted to Zenless leaks. Anyone who's ever been in a fandom like Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, or Dragon Age, because they are all relevant, you understand when people pretty much shit themselves over not wanting things to change, or things not changing enough. My response has always been the same to these people. Yeah, that sucks. Are you gonna stop playing the game? No? Then stop crying. Because clearly the change is not enough for you to stop playing. Like, I have quit games I've spent hundreds of dollars on for less.
Yep.
So, Zenless is in that same little kind of dichotomy where this change of all 3 characters being able to use their ults brought on a wave of drama of people saying, oh, well, the game's just gonna be brain dead now. We're gonna be able to easily kill all the bosses. Everything's gonna be way too easy to play, because something people have been complaining about since day one is that everything's too easy, which is not entirely true, but we're not gonna get into that right now.
Okay.
Immediately, the next leak that was revealed is how all of the all of the enemies across the board in every one of the, well, not everyone, but generally in all of the game modes, are going to have buffs to their health and their shields. So it's going to be harder to stun them, and it's going to be harder to kill them, thus making the 3 ult structure way more viable without breaking the game. Of course, people then complain that certain characters are going to have no real reason to be played because of how their kits work, and some characters are gonna way too easily be able to one rotation any of the bosses, because the other change that was shown was that certain acts in the game would give you more points towards your ultimate than others. That then got disproven by clarification saying certain things that were not giving you any bonuses at all would now get bonuses, and the things that were already giving you bonuses are only getting slight bonuses because they were already giving you massive bonuses to your ult. And I'm watching all of this because I like leaks. I like knowing about mechanics and potential stuff that's coming to a game. I fully believe in, like, know what you're going to put your money towards. I think it's stupid to go into a game completely blind. You're just setting yourself up for potential disappointment. So I'm looking at these leaks. I'm seeing the changes, and I'm thinking, okay, cool. This is going in a direction that makes sense. I see what's coming. And all the while, I'm just reading all of these people losing their mind, being butthurt, and all I can think is, you guys are losers. You have nothing else going on in your lives that you're complaining about a gacha game.
Yeah.
You're firing half-cocked. Meanwhile, I'm over here looking at my wife, my 2 dogs, and the 7 different hobbies I keep jumping in and out of, and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing good with my life. I don't have a lot of money. No, I don't have a lot of fame, but you know what? At least I'm not shitting myself over not being able to play the new bunny girl because she's gonna be out of meta now.
How sad.
But on the plus side, when you stop looking at the people crying about stuff, the new changes to Zenless very much entice me because now I will be able to use my Deadpool lookalike to do the max amount of damage, use my sword and shield wife to stun the enemy longer, and then use my support character to freeze them so that my DPS Deadpool can do even more damage.
Woohoo! Damage!
It's almost like having more choices and being able to play with all of your character's abilities is a good thing.
You would think.
With that ramble, are there any games or has there like been any fan reactions to stuff that you've looked at and you just thought, I don't want to call these people losers, but
I don't really follow that kind of social media very often. And I don't read forums because I don't really follow a lot of that. So my view is very small with like people saying things. The only one I can possibly think of recently was the My Time games, like My Time at Porsche, My Time at Sandrock. I don't know if you know those, but they recently had a Kickstarter for their next version of the game. And I remember and I backed it because I love the My Time series, which is
Yeah.
it's another like crafting farming type game that has a lot of really cool background story to it. Anyway, the drama that I remember reading in the backers stuff was like, oh my gosh, they're changing the art style. It's like they're evolving or something. And I was like, yeah, it looks great. What are you complaining about?
yeah, this
It looks amazing.
Why are you crying? This looks fine.
It's not the original art anymore. It doesn't look like the original My Time at Porsche game. And I'm just like, but it looks better. Why are you upset? In fact, I want them to redo the first game in this style. Let's do that.
I feel like obviously like subjectivity comes into play with that kind of stuff a lot too, but like there does seem to be this weird undesire to want to see things be different. Like there's just this like focus of like, no, but it worked fine this way. It's like, okay, but like what they're doing now doesn't look bad. Yeah, but I don't like it, which means it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I can give a good example of like, not trying to put myself on a pedestal. I am just as flawed as any other human. I think just in this aspect of like fan culture, I usually keep a clear head. I have not played Dragon Age Veilguard yet because some of the things that like made Dragon Age what it was, for better and for worse, is no longer in the game. Primarily that like you can be a dickhead. Like, I loved playing a hero who was like the most noble and the most sacrificial character, and then like when he met an evil character, he's just like, I hope you die in a fire.
Yeah.
And I don't care who hears me say that. But
Yeah.
you can't do that in this Dragon Age, and I was like, okay, I don't want to play that. That's fine. I'll catch that on a sale. And all I did was that. I said, aw. Oh well. And he waddled away.
Yep. That's what I do too. Like I look through my games sometimes and I go, oh, this is on sale. Is it enough on sale? Do I like it that much?
But is it enough on sale?
I know it's 40% off. Do I care? Do I wait till it's 60% off? I could wait till 60% off. The reviews are mixed. I am fine.
No, exactly. But then like you have like so many people. There's so much discourse over the new Dragon Age Veilguard, and there's so much going on about whether or not it was a success, if it was a flop, what people did and didn't like about it. And I'm just over here and I'm like, why are you all so invested in this company that doesn't care about you? Like, I get verbalizing and even being hyperbolic about something for the sake of just, like, getting it out there. But, like, I've been that person who obsesses and, like, keeps looking up all of these different posts about something I don't like. And I look back at myself and I go, why? Why did you do that? That only made you more upset.
Yeah. That's actually the reason why I very rarely look into things like Reddit or people's feedback on certain things. I usually look up guides, and I'm like, okay, so I don't know where this item is. I can't find it,
Yep.
which is funny because I remember, mild tangent, on Gunfire Reborn, there was a quest from the training master that was like, do something. And I go, hey, mod of mine, could you look this up? I don't know what this means. And my mod looks it up and they goes, well, it's heavily searched, but there are no answers for it. Nobody knows what this means. And I go, all right, well, I guess I'll fail this.
Scholars have been asking themselves for generations. Oh god. See, like that mentality is like what made me leave Twitter. Like I finally just stopped huffing the paint. Like I understand that like if by some miracle like I start actually getting a followership again and like I can make something out of like doing things on the internet, like it's expected for me to go on Twitter, but I'm just like, no, Blue Sky is just, I don't want to say Blue Sky's better, it's just less shit.
Well, I feel that Blue Sky, now we're on the social media tangent, I feel that Blue Sky is more people who care right now. Like, it's the beginning of Twitter. It's before the corporations were trying to get on there and sell their products to people. It's the before times.
It's the happier version of the old west.
Oh yeah, and so like I'm enjoying it because I can actually talk to people and people actually engage on my posts, where Twitter is just like, or X, I don't know what we call it nowadays. Twitter is just like you post your thing and people may or may not see it, and that's that, right?
Yeah, and then like
And
you're likely not having any of your posts seen even from like the couple hundred people that follow you, either because those followers are bots or other people have literally paid money so that your posts don't get seen.
I don't see some of my friends' posts on Twitter for a day.
Yeah.
A day. And I'm like, I want to see what's brand new right at the top. Show me who just posted something. And I won't see something for a day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, where's the delay? Why is there a delay? What happened?
I feel the same way, and I don't think Blue Sky's algorithm system is like perfect for me just yet, but I can go to my following tab and find the people I actually want to see posts from, and then I can I can close Blue Sky the after.
I actually have a couple different lists on my Blue Sky. I have obviously my followers that I care about, and then I have like VTuber, so I can find any new VTubers, and then I have VTuber assets because I like to collect things. I have VTuber clips because I like to see what everyone else finds amusing to see if my humor matches their humor or not. And then VTuber music because I love to hear people's like personal songs and things like that. And then I just have a bunch of random follows like cats. I got one for cats, and I'm like, anybody post something as hashtag cats, I get to see that. So, which is really fun.
I need to. I learned recently. I've learned this cool new thing that kids are doing. And that you can apparently, like, share your lists with people, and so that they can, like, kind of, like, copy the list and make their own version of it. I need to start doing that, and I kind of need to start doing that for block lists, too, because I don't know if you're experiencing this, but, like, I'm getting a bunch of people following me, but, like, I'm not doing enough to be getting followed like that. Like, not on here, not on YouTube, not on Blue Sky. And I'm, like, getting 10 plus people following me every day. And, like, maybe it's the pessimist in me, but the first thing I'm thinking is, oh no, the bots found me.
What's probably happening is that you're on someone's starter pack. Like, I have a VTuber Friends and More starter pack that I share. and you're on that list. So somebody can go to the top and click friend all, and everyone on that list becomes their friend. So you're probably on a couple VTuber friend starter packs.
Kath, you just called me a 4-star.
What?
I just imagine, the starter pack featuring the 4-star character Basil. I am a 4-star character. How fucking dare you?
What's wrong? What do you mean?
I'm just relating it to the gotcha conversation. I just like in my brain, I'm just like it's like a trading card thing where it's just like, fuck you, Dracio. I am at least a 3-star.
Fair.
I just like in my brain, I'm just like a starter pack. It's like, oh god damn it, I got another Basil. Like,
yep,
what?
I like Basil. I need more of those. I need to fill them out.
No, like Basil's a good character, but I got like 60 of them already.
Yeah, but did you get the EX version?
Hold on. What would the EX version of our cards be? Are we talking like they're a little sexy, or are they like they're like our super forms or something?
Mine would probably be me tripping with a potion bottle.
I can see that.
Because I'm a klutz.
I think mine would be like the standard. I think the standard card for me is a goofy looking one where I'm like, I've got like my wife got this art done of her little moth character and of course me, and we're running away from the Basil Goose, the Basil Geese from Monster Hunter. I think that would be my standard card. The other card would be me, like, looking more serious, squaring up to fight it. And then, like, my ultra rare super card is me, like, being carded because the Basil Geese beat the shit out of me.
Nice.
And then the seasonal card is me shirtless.
Interesting.
Because,
Interesting
because listen. You gotta have the sexy VTuber card in there somewhere. It's just mine doesn't show up until, like, certain holidays.
Interesting. I don't know if you realize this. I'm Say-So, and so I don't have that entire
That's fine.
persona.
That is totally
I don't
fine.
have that card.
I am not pushing that on you. I am saying more for the sake of jokes. Because, like...
I know. I'm saying, like, if you find a Kath sexy card, that is, that's a fake.
Yeah, it's doctored. It's 100% not real.
I'm playing up to the thing, like, that you got scammed. That's not a real card. You can't play that in the game, so, like, you know.
Actually, you might want to even double check, like, if you, like, use this one, like, heater method, you can actually, like, loosen the film that they put on the actual card, and then they remove the fake film, and it turns out it's another one of my cards. It's not even the sexy one!
Great.
It's not even the sexy one!
That's amazing.
Oh shit! Now I actually want to, like, as it, like, both a joke and as, like, a fun thing, I'd love for, like, a bunch of VTubers to come together and, like, have different, like, miscellaneous trading cards. That'd be fun.
Did you ever see my VTuber Pokemon trading cards that I made?
No, I'm not aware of those.
So I've done it twice in the past where my friends and I were doing it for charity, where we would spin a wheel with a bunch of our VTuber friends' names on it, and whoever's it landed on, my artist friend Keinoka, she would draw the art, and then I would create the Pokemon card with their abilities and their names, and I would make that, and then she'd have that amount of time to draw whatever it was as fast as she could, and I'm like, okay, Kane, you're done, give me your art, and I'll snatch it from her and put it behind, and then we put the card out there.
Oh, that's fun. That's an awesome idea. If I catch that again, I'm gonna try to, like, throw my hat in the ring, because I would love to see what gets come up with. And by all means, I am open to having, like, the dorkiest, like, most comedy-focused art made. The whole point of, like, my character is, like, secretly a badass, outwardly a dumbass. Like, that's the whole vibe that my character is.
Yeah, my character
Oh.
is just silly. Like she's like, "Hey yo, I'm here. I'm doing my thing. It's whatever." Hair flip.
Actually, let me know. Like, I'm having a lot of fun talking just about miscellaneous stuff. When it comes to VTuber stuff, do you ever? I used to keep up with VTuber drama just to like kind of understand who was a bad apple. But then, of course, like the VTuber drama, like every other week, something else was going on, and it became less and less of an actual issue. It was like, oh, cool, someone just said something stupid or out of context. I don't care anymore. Did you ever go into that trap, or were you also like, nope, don't care, stay away from me?
Um, I was very much the one on the side with the popcorn.
Oh, openly. I mean, I tried to keep track of stuff, but like some of the things that started coming out were depressing, and I couldn't find the joy in it anymore.
Yeah, no, I very rarely looked for the drama, but Twitter's good at shoving things in your face you don't want to see. And so I remember that sometimes I would just stumble across things and then I'd look at it and I'd be like, I didn't need to know that, but I guess I know it now.
I did not require this information, but here we are. Yeah,
Here we are.
that's another. Let me double check that document I sent you, and we'll see. Oh, I love this. I'm looking at the Katharina card you sent. Oh, that looks so good. Oh, that's
Yeah, that was
cool.
that was one of like 15 total that we have done so far.
That's sick. Okay, let's see here. We got the games. Oh, here's one that like we still haven't like touched up on. Might be a good capper. What games or things are you looking forward to in the future?
Video game wise or like
Like video game wise to start, but if there's like any other kind of like game or show or something that like grabs you, I'm gonna immediately default to video games because it's my big hobby.
Fair. One that I am interested in that you will probably not be interested in is called Unrailed 2. Have you ever played Unrailed, the original game?
I have not, but I'm gonna go ahead and look up Unrailed now.
So Unrailed is a co-op game where you and up to 3 of your friends are trying to get a train where you build the tracks to get it to the next station. And in doing so, you have to cut down trees or cut down rocks, and the train gets faster and faster and faster, so you have to build faster and faster and faster. And basically the end goal is to get as far as you can before the train crashes, which is a lot of fun as you are yelling at each other like, where's the axe? Who has the axe? Oh god, the pickaxe! Oh, it's off screen because the screen's moving as well. So like if you leave something too far and it goes off screen, you can't pick it up anymore.
Oh, okay, I'm seeing. Yeah, so this is very much like Diner Dash kind of game, but it's a train.
And so it's really fun, and they just came out with an Unrailed 2 that I'm going to try to get my friends convinced to purchase, even though it's $18 right now. But I'll probably do it. I might be able to. It's in early access right now, though. Might wait a little bit for the bugs to work their ways out.
I'm not gonna lie, this actually very much seems like a game that, like, if someone asked me to play it, I would. Like, this seems like my kind of thing. I might honestly want to get my wife and I to try the first game. It seems very up our alley.
Yo, the first game is fire. And it's local co-op. The first game, so like you and her can play split screen because it's all one thing, right?
Right. Survive boss battle. I'm looking at the second one. Okay,
yeah.
they got boss battles in the second one. Wait a minute.
Yeah, there was no boss battles in the first game, so I don't know what that's about.
Okay. I might have to look into this. That's actually a perfect suggestion. I'm very excited for that. Anything
What about
else?
you?
Oh boy. So, remember earlier when I mentioned in Zenlist all those changes that are coming?
Yeah.
And when I made a joke about like a fox girl who is basically Virgil's daughter from Devil May Cry.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't exaggerating. A consistent joke. Like, she literally does, like, the whole, I am the storm that is approaching. Like, that, the whole, like, slowly resheath your sword and then the character explodes.
That's
I
amazing.
I have wanted that character ever since the game launched, and I was always so sad when it was like, no, like, she's not coming out for months. And it's like, it's finally time. But it's even better than that, because there's two other characters before Miyabi who are coming out. Lightner, who, like, think of like a boy band-esque anime boy that you would actually find attractive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now make him a biker and make him be able to punch like Star Platinum.
Interesting.
His whole gimmick is that he's super cool, he's very honorable, he genuinely is good to people, and he never remembers anybody's name. He fucks up everyone's name all the time, and then when people get mad at him, he's like, no, I really do remember you, I'm just really bad at names. He's such a dork, and I've positioned myself to where I will get a guarantee of him next the next banner.
Nice.
After him is a more Bishi boy who, if the best way I could explain him is, did you ever watch Attack on Titan?
I did.
Think of Levi if Levi had a personality.
Okay.
Like, that's the character. Like, their fighting style, their two swords can become a bow and arrow, but, like, they are Levi if Levi was actually interesting.
Fair. He was so very boring, but everyone loved him for some reason.
I mean, he was a badass, and he was hot, and, like, not getting any sleep was attractive back in the day. So that character's coming out, and I will also be able to both afford financially and time-wise to get him without going into debt. Also, he's going to be, there's a lot of rumors that he's going to be free. Like, it's going to be a celebration for the game lasting for so long, since they're kind of relaunching with all these new changes to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be free, which only makes it easier for me to get the Fox Girl.
Amazing.
Outside of that, I'm also really looking forward to Monster Hunter Wilds. It is a game I have been, like, I was not a big fan of Monster Hunter World. There were a lot of things in World that did not click with me, and I couldn't really get very far in the game. Like, once I got to the grinding lands in World, I finally said, fuck it, I hate this.
Yeah.
Rise was fun, but, like, it didn't really have the sauce, you know?
So I only played about like 7 hours of Rise, and I tried really hard to like it. I really didn't. I did play about like 50-ish hours or so in Monster Hunter World, and I did enjoy that one, but once I beat like the big dragon thing, and then the rest of the stuff opened up, I was like, I think I'm good.
No, I feel that. Because, like, I think all Monster Hunter games eventually hit this precipice where once you have to start fighting the same monster in a different area for the millionth time, you kind of just say, I'm good, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm good.
The thing that Rise has that I think is really going to be interesting is that they have a lot more monster variations. They've got a world. So the big thing that I immediately fell in love with is the fact that the world maps are so much bigger than in World, but the mount is more interesting than in Wilds. Ergo, you can either control the mount and run around. They're not nearly as speedy as the dogs, but, like, they have a weight to them that makes it kind of fun to guide them. On top of that, they have this entire system where if you, like, click on the monster you want to track down, the mount will start running to it, and if you let it auto-run, it will jump on walls and corners and go in different areas that you normally would not think to go. So it makes travel like a real treat, because you don't really know where your mountain's gonna go, but like it's gonna take really interesting routes to get to the monster. And while you're riding it, while the mount is doing that, you can drink your potions, sharpen your weapon, like get all of your items in a row. It's so neat. And then I gushed about it in the last podcast. If you guys want to see what my thoughts were on the gameplay, go check out episode 1, where I first launched this. But the gameplay is much more like of a mixture of Monster Hunter World's slow but deliberate movement. And that's like both player and monster. Like a monster will suddenly go very quickly, but you see the wind up and you're like, okay, is this the fast one or is this the slow one? And you have to get used to which one it is, and it feels more fair. But it kind of has a little bit of the sauce from Monster Hunter Generations. Longsword has a way more interesting mechanic for counters. Dual blades can dodge counter. Bow and arrow can dodge counter. Heavy bowgun can block.
Fancy.
It's just it's not like in Rise where you had like the wire bugs. Really, Sylvie? Really?
I was about to be like, squeak, squeak.
The squeaky toy now. She's getting upset because I'm not giving her attention. But it's not like Rise where you do all like these super moves. It's like, no, it's these very specific combos that your class or your weapon can do, and only during very particular times of a fight, which means it's got the skill back, but it also has that ridiculous anime bullshit that I love. So me and a bunch of buddies got to play with the beta, and besides a couple of hiccups, I'm so excited. I think this is it. This is going to be the first Monster Hunter that I'm going to lose myself to since Generations, and I'm shit you not, that was about 10 years ago.
I'll have to give that one a go then, because my friend Alexria loves the Monster Hunter games, and I'm just like, eh. And she'll always drag me kicking and screaming in the battles, and I'm go, okay, no, I get it.
I think you, if you get a chance to look into some of the cool stuff that's going on, maybe watch my last episode. Some of the stuff in Rise is very interesting, and I think it's a more deliberate experience. I don't want to say it's difficult nor easy, because again, some of these monsters will throttle you if you don't know what you're doing. But whether you're new or old, like, a lot of the stuff from World has been enhanced in a way that makes me really happy as someone who has been a very big critic of World. And some of the aspects that Rise did also kind of got carried over, but are done in a less, like, arcadey way. Like, everything feels like it has a purpose. And I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at, like, my character and I'm just like, yes, this is the Monster Hunter I've been waiting for.
Let's go. It sounds fun. Is there, just real quick, is there any game that you have been really looking forward to coming out, but it keeps getting delayed?
What games? It was Dragon Age Veilguard, but that finally came out and I just didn't care.
Fair.
You know what? Give me a second. I can actually look up on my Steam wish list, because the thing what I do is that if I find something that I'm really interested in, I'll wish list it, and then when it finally comes out, I'll be like, yay, you finally came out. Well, I'm pulling up my Steam wish list. Is there anything like that for you?
Yes, actually, because I was actually thinking about it today. I don't know if you remember the Fantasy Life series on the 3DS. It was this really fun game where your character, you could be any life class you want at any time. You could go switch it out. So you could be, a blacksmith today, or you could go be a merc later on. And it's super fun. You can switch at any time you wanted to. And there's like specific class quests and everything. And basically the point of the game is to become max at everything. And that's how you kind of win the game. Well, they tried a mobile version, which tanked super hard. And just it didn't work well. Like, the gameplay did not work well on phone. And so then they had one coming to the Nintendo Switch that has been delayed, and then it was delayed, and then they're like, okay, it's coming out October 17th, 2024. Now its release date is TBD. I'm so
Oh.
upset because I loved Fantasy Life. And this is called Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time. And it looks so fun. And I'm like, I'm going to play this as soon as it drops on stream. I'm going to play it for like weeks straight. And they're like, nah, not right now, you're not. And I go, oh, okay.
I mean, you thought you were going to, but
I thought I was going to, and I did not.
oh no. God. The thing that when it comes down to like games like that where you wait a long time, I do remember what that was. I remember what that was like. Because for me, it was Assassin's Creed. Like, this was before, like, every other month you'd get a new Assassin's Creed.
Oh, yeah.
I remember frothing at the mouth when Assassin's Creed 2 was going to come out. Because I was so I really, really liked the first AC, and I was like, you can swim? You can swim in you can assassinate dudes from the water?
Yeah,
What?
that was really fun.
And Assassin's Creed 2 was so good. Like, when they kept coming out with more and more Assassin's Creeds, I was so into it. I was so happy. And then Assassin's Creed did what Assassin's Creed did. So now I don't care anymore. But I think the only game that I'm actively looking forward to right now that doesn't have a release date yet is this game called Threads of Time. And the best way I can explain it is it's Chrono Trigger. And it's Chrono Trigger with that 2D, 3D art style that a lot of old school RPGs have been doing lately, like 2.5D. I love the hell of how this game is looking. It's got a swordsman who has a big sword that becomes a two-sword. It's got a barbarian who has a pet dragon. It's got a lady who's in a mech, and then the mech also helps fight with the lady. I'm just like, when's the release date? And the game is like, we don't have a release date, lol, suffer.
Suffer.
I want that game so bad, but I'm in that realm of, okay, it hasn't been delayed, but it might as well have.
It was delayed in my heart.
Okay. Well, Kath, thank you for being here. This was as enjoyable of a chit-chat as I figured it was going to be.
I'm very happy that you invited me to come and hang out with you today, because I got to learn a lot about you, and I got to share lots of stories, which I like to do.
Yes! I'm so glad I have another friend who is like... It's like, I have a lot of friends who are TTRPG players. I don't have a lot of people who are, like, forever DMs, so it's like, someone else who, like, understands.
Hashtag forever DM.
But one more time, if you want to holler at everyone who's watching where they can find you and any particular events coming up sooner rather than later.
Oh, hi there. Welcome again. My name is Katharina Game. I don't know why I put on my suave voice for this, but here we are. I'm a Greenwich VTuber over on Katharina Game at twitch.tv/Katharina Game thing. There you go. You know how to do that. And as far as events are going, I have a 12-hour charity event that I'm doing on December 6th that I'm planning for. So that's going to be pretty chill.
Awesome. Thank you all for being here. My name is Basil Not the Herb. This has been the Ramblers Tavern. We are done rambling. You can catch me here on Basil Not the Herb on Twitch. Find me on Blue Sky and YouTube. Any combination of Basil NTH or Basil Not the Herb. Trust me, you will be able to find me. I will say the only thing to really maybe keep an eye out is, of course, more episodes and adventures of the Ramblers Tavern, whether I have a guest or you just get to deal with my beautiful self. I'm also trying to do something TTRPG related on this channel again. If you have been a long time fan, you know that those projects tend to go all over the place. I kind of have something in the works. I'm trying to find the people for it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna keep to the theme I've got going on, where I'm not putting too much effort into stuff, and I'm letting things happen for funsies. But but look forward to that. Try to. I'm gonna be putting these podcasts up sometime in the future on Spotify, but for now, find them on YouTube when the VODs go out. Follow me on Blue Sky, and if you can find the link on my channels to join the Discord, you can get the notifications. Let people know what you're listening to. If you guys have guest suggestions or want to throw this podcast at people, I love meeting new folks. For the foreseeable future, I will be asking people who I a little bit know, or you just get my happy little butt. Thank you all for being here, but hey, it's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
I haven't finished my drink yet. Wait.
What? No, get out! Get out! I said get out!